Hi, welcome to Mercurious Being. I am Amy Jensen here with your astro update for the Aries full moon, which will be exact at 4:58 a.m. Central Time on September 29th. And here is a chart of the event of the lunation. You can see the grid. So you can see Venus has something to say about this lunation, and Uranus, and Mercury supported. Mars has just a little affirmation going to Venus. And what does that all mean? We will talk about it. Okay, starting off with the tarot cards for the sign of Libra, which is justice, and the sign of Aries, which is the Tower. And so at this lunation, 6 degrees Libra, 0 minutes is the sun shining forth. 6 degrees Aries, 0 minutes is the moon reflecting. So the sign, the card for Libra is justice. This is from the tarot Mucha, and I'll have a link below. Justice, measuring all human deeds upon her golden scales. Justice restores balance by eliminating what is not needed. Acts of injustice meet with their rightful consequences, and her sword of truth dispels illusion. Do not think that you can avoid her gaze. She sees through any veil of self-deception in which you have swathed yourself. There is no need to fear her influence if your conscience is clear. What you have set into motion will come to its conclusion, following the laws of the universe. If circumstances are not as you would have them be, learn the lesson now and be on the right side of justice next time. The sword is yours to wield as well, when your heart is pure and your motives are true. Key ideas: karma, the consequences of your deeds, facing reality, putting things back in balance. So, actually, I'm just going to talk about Libra a little bit, and then I'll come back and move into Aries and the Tower card. So Libra, the sun is in Libra at this time of year, and shining forth in gentleness, the energy of gentleness. So there's the face of Libra with the scales, the metal scales. Again, it's the only sign that doesn't have an animal or a human, anything alive associated with it. It's the cold metal scales of justice. So I think the tarot card justice reflects that, obviously the justness, kind of the cool detachment, cardinal air that Libra is. And then shadow Libra is the vacillation of air, and too concerned with how it looks and aesthetics, and overly balancing and overly reactive to the other. So those are the two faces of Libra. But Libra, cardinal air, the energy of the 7th house, or the other, the sense of I, balance. Learning about balance, learning about relationships and relating. Learning about self through relating with others, and then others in our lives in relationship as a mirror to ourselves. So the lessons of Libra, learning about others and how they live, what they believe, how they communicate, how they respond, and how we respond to that, and how we respond to that which we learn. How are we received by others, looking through that lens, and looking through that lens and seeing how we're being received by others, being aware of that and noticing and deciding what needs to change or be balanced within ourselves to communicate and respond and be received, have our message and our energy received by another. And this learning will cause us to learn how to best be with others, how to balance ourselves in relationship. And always this sense of examining our self-image. So changing and responding our image as we learn from those around us. Okay, so learning the art of balance and harmony whilst not losing oneself. And we'll go into the Aries here in just a moment. Libra rules harmony and balance and homeostasis in the body. It's associated with kidney function and the pancreas, the secretion of insulin and glycogen, so that energy of sweetness, but not being too sweet. The energy of kidney problems, hypoglycemia, iron deficiency are all medical associations with Libra, and iron is ruled by Aries and Mars. So again, there's just the sense of the balancing systems in the body, also ruled by Libra. So through the filter of Libra, the sun shines forth in gentleness, in fairness, in softness, like pastel colors, but also of, again, kind of firmness when the Libra is resolute in its justice and judgment. A sense of beauty, the sense of the strength that comes from being balanced, the strength through gentleness, strength through softness, that sense of fairness, again, fairness as in justice, fairness as in fairness of beauty. Not a sense of pushing, of forcing, of being assaultive with one's information or beliefs. It's kind of a calm, expositional energy, the sense of laying oneself forth into the milieu rather factually and with care, like sense of well-placed items and well-placed things. Feng shui flower arrangement comes to mind. So just putting out a balanced face and even position out into the world and into relationships. Now I say not a false face, but a balanced, fair face. So just learning that balance. And then, and the Libra new moon will be up in a couple weeks. So it's always interesting when the full moon hits before the new moon. So we're faced with the polarity of Aries. So how is your Libra balance and harmony and energy received? How is it mirrored back? And let's move into Aries and the Tower card. A blast from the heavens destroys a tower that seemed unconquerable, and those who dwelled within its walls fall from the heights. The tower was built with such a forbidding design that it not only protected its inhabitants, it effectively imprisoned them in their own creation. The tower now stands open to the elements, its magnificent gilded dome blown away. Worldly wealth and the illusion of security matter little to the soul, which demands liberation. If you do not seek freedom on your own, the universe may give it to you in unexpected ways. Nothing can prepare you for the shock of the blasted tower, but if you freely move beyond your small enclosure, you can avoid being thrown from it against your will. Key ideas with the tower: sudden change, utter transformation, destruction that leads to creation, shock, and awakening. Okay, and I'm not saying anything shocking is going to happen at this full moon. What I'm saying is the Aries energy of coming forth, just I am. Aries is the first card, it's the first sign, it's cardinal fire. So Aries, I amness, it rules the head, it rules the skull, it rules the face, it rules the heat in the body. The moon is in the sign of Aries, mirroring back all of this Libra harmony and balance. Okay, so the sense of the Aries constructing this tower that it built, that it is housed within, coming upon justice So there's a mirroring back and forth. The sense of justice and cutting through, the sense of the Tower and being open to, so I amness, Ariesness, it's me, Aries, no offense, Aries, you know what I mean. Energy, we all have it, energy of coming forward, it's me, first house, I am. And then kind of what happens to the Tower of this I amness when you're with someone, right? And so allowing the Tower of ourselves, the I amness, to be modulated by relationship and otherness. Okay, does that make sense? Not that there isn't going to be a little disruption with all that Uranus in the picture, but okay, we're symbolic here, people. Okay, so Aries, I am, rules the head, the adrenals, the face, the skull. I did a sound bath last night and it was interesting because I was thinking about the full moon. So I was thinking about a key of C for Aries, or A minor, C major, and then the key of F sharp major for Libra, and it's relative minor, but I really didn't move into the minor of that. But it's interesting. Every group is different. Every time is different. And last night, it was definitely C, key of C, but really high C and low C, kind of anchored the sound bath. And then F sharp, which rules the thymus, G sharp, and which is also right in, I would say, high heart area, high heart throat area. Actually, G sharp, I'm kind of getting to be like upper palate, back of the mouth. Anyway, I digress. But F sharp, G sharp, and C sharp, which is the tone for the adrenals. So if you are musically inclined or interested in that direction, any of those tones you might find particularly balancing during this lunation. So F sharp, G sharp, C sharp, and then the C major, either the C major 1, 3, 5, 8, but just that grounded in the root chakra of C. Okay, so going to go back through Aries, adrenal, the heat of the body, the fight of the body, the sense of physicality, right? Aries is individuating energy. It's engaged with life. It is active. There is a sense of, again, the physicality, the being in your body, having energy. This energy is great for athletics. It's great for competitions. And it needs to be balanced so as to not become too hot or too overactive or overdone, run ragged. So it's the energy of defense and attack. It's the principle of energy again, the heat in the body, awareness of self, that go ahead, the go forward energy, because the glyph for Aries is the horns of the ram. And of course, rams lead with their head. Mountain goats go to the top of the mountain. So the Aries energy of being depressed when energy or enterprise is suppressed or blocked. Headaches, migraines, head injuries, cuts, surgeries, adrenals, adrenal fatigue, stress-related immune disorders are all in the Aries spectrum. So that moon in Aries, Chiron's in Aries, the North Node, our evolutionary path forward, are all in Aries. So there is this big Aries push, to really be strong and physical and present in your body, to have good boundaries. I'm going to jump into the aspects here. To have good boundaries in your body, and to, with the North Node in Aries, collectively embodying ourselves, not just being in our heads, but in a different way, in a physical manifested way. All right, and that Aries moon is mirroring and holding all of the energy of the Libran sun. Okay, so balancing, balancing, balancing. Aspects to this lunation, Venus, who is the ruler of Libra, so the dispositor of the Libran sun, has a little semi-square to the sun. It has a square and a half to the moon, and Venus is in her fullness phase. Adam Gainsburg does all the phases, so I will link his site below. Has a wonderful, he and Andrea have a wonderful calendar for Venus that I highly suggest. So Venus at this time in her fullness phase, fame as well, she's in Leo cycle, and she's still in Leo, brighter and higher in the sky every day. She's in her morning star phase and really coming up to the highest part, reaching max elongation. I don't think I wrote the date down, but that's coming up in just a few weeks, I believe. So she's just really inhabiting her space in the heavens, in the morning sky. So she's got a little check-in with both the sun and the moon. She has a full-on square or kind of conflict with Uranus in Taurus. It's a square 0 degrees, 14 minutes exact. And this is the third of 3 squares that Venus and Uranus have had. The first one was July 2nd. The second one was August 9th. And this is the third one. So again, throughout this period, you can look back and see if what you valued, what any themes of being valued, the sense of reorganizing, the sense of being in relationship, the sense of, which would be Venusian and Libran, and the sense of being an individual or the sense of individuality, but that being an individual, Uranus, and then in Taurus, again, your individual values, sense of worthiness, themes of worthiness. So anything, money, resources, coming in suddenly, leaving suddenly, that have occurred, any occasions of that since July 2nd. With this third square, those matters, if it's kind of gone back and forth, will be kind of seeking resolution and balance and kind of figuring out these themes as we reach the third square. Mercury also, it just has a nice trine to Uranus. Uranus is the upper octave of Mercury. Mercury is still in Virgo. On the 30th, Mercury returns to the degree at which it began its retrograde phase. It's already direct, so it's happy in Virgo, which it rules. It's trining Uranus. It's also trining Jupiter, and this is the third of 3 trines or harmonious flows to Jupiter, the planet of expansion. The first one occurred back August 9th. So similar, interesting, because that was an exact date of the Venus-Uranus squared. So we've got a lot of themes going on with these Taurus planets of value, what you value, being valued, your self-worth, what are your resources, okay? With Mercury making this trine, and then I guess I flipped over to the Mercury trining Jupiter. So let's flip over to Mercury trining Jupiter, Mercury trining Uranus. Sudden insight, sudden resolution to matters of, again, the self-worth, but also with Jupiter involved, kind of the sense of materiality. So maybe some big dreams you'd like to create. Use the Virgo Mercury energy to keep crafting plans and kind of laying out a map or a spreadsheet for you to get to maybe those big dreams of Jupiter, okay? Or, big dreams of Jupiter in Taurus. Okay. Jupiter, that's good. That's good for that. I think that's all. There's just support there and inspiration to take and map out the practical steps. Okay, I'm going to flip back to the lunation. So again, we have the moon, Chiron, the north node, all in Aries. So we've been exploring courage, vulnerability, healing boundaries, establishing boundaries, opening up and being vulnerable in relationships through strength and courage. The sense of exploration, which is an Aries energy of being the mountain goat, going to see the other side of the mountain, even if you're scared. Challenging yourself, okay? Challenging yourself. Have a little competition with yourself. And putting yourself out there, okay? Mars is in Libra, so it's the dispositor of the Aries moon. So it rules Aries, so the moon, Chiron, North Node are all in Aries, ruled by Mars. Mars is in Libra. Like I said, not its favorite spot because it has to be so dang balanced. So there's a little stress involved. These aspects, they're oppositions and inconjuncts. Inconjunct to Uranus from Mars, and then in opposition to the Aries Chiron and Aries North Node. So there's a little stress involved balancing all of this. I got the image because it's a full moon, it's a lunation, it's a point. It can be maybe perhaps a tension point. There might be strings involved. There might be entanglements. So the energy of untangling, clarifying, using that clear Libran sense of cardinal air to bring balance, okay? And then the Mars bringing the energy in Libra to balance. So we're untangling these relationships internally, self and other, but this is the time to approach it. So Venus, again, the dispositor or the ruler of the Libran sun, and just exploring that energy of this Leo cycle that she's in, embodying her light, her brightness, leading the way as that morning star. So maybe, morning is a good time to practice. If you do your meditation or a walk or journaling, maybe morning before the sunrise. Venus will be rising before the sun. And even if you can't see her, even if you are not outside, but that would be a great practice to go outside and look for Venus and just be out there with the energy of her rising, opening up to that brightness and that lightness within yourself, and just embodying your whole self through that Venus in Leo, which is a sense of being unique and authentic, embodying oneself, kind of being in the spotlight, but this soft, gentle, kind of highlighting or infusion of light, not kind of a ta-da spotlight, but yes, if you want that. So yes, but more of an energetic diffusion of light, like your whole energy bubble is just filled with that light and brightness, that sense of being just really present and showing up. Again, I know I keep saying that in many videos, but as yourself, as scary as that might be, okay? Just if we would all just show forward as ourselves, just kind of adding and turning up the light in the world a little bit each time as we show up authentically. And I had just ended it with, kind of hashtag the real deal. So being the real deal within yourself and within relationships, and have fun with it. Evaluate, see how you are mirrored, see how you are received at this time. Take it all in, journal about it, make a plan, use that Mercury in Virgo and its aspects, and have a little, and not just a little, Uranus expectations, because Uranus does have an aspect to the sun, to the moon, to Mercury, to Venus, and to Mars. So Mars and Venus being the rulers of Aries and Libra. And Mars has a nice trine, kind of a nice hook in, Uranus. So Uranus has those aspects to Mars and Venus, has a nice flow with Mercury. It has that little pushing of individuality or uniqueness into the sun and moon. So, as Kriyananda would say with Uranus, expect the unexpected. Expect that little spark to kind of come in and add a little sparkle to the diffusion and glowiness of light. So have a wonderful full moon, and I will see you back in a couple weeks. Thank you for tuning in and for watching and for liking and subscribing. I really appreciate you. Namaste.